Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animanicast. And welcome everybody once again to the Animanicast. This, of course, is the podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows within the Rueggerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky and the Brain, and Freakazoid. But today we are talking about another episode of the Animaniacs Reboot. Yes, this is Season 2, Episode 11 is what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about all the cultural references and gags that we feel like talking about, and of course, in the end, we're going to give this episode of the Animaniacs Reboot a water tower rating. I am Joey. And joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
Oh, well-timed interruption.
And across the country in Georgia, there's Kelly.
Hello.
Kelly is back from a journey through the stars, through the another galaxy and back. We just talked about it all for our Patreon. And you could hear about Kelly's journey to the Halcyon. Ooh. And how was your jet lag?
Well, since we went to Disney parks afterwards, it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. Pretty exhausting.
Oh my goodness. I'm still recovering.
Well, to help Kelly recover, we're going to be talking about the 24th episode in the Hulu reboot. This, of course, includes the segments A Brief History of History, Gerard, the prisoners. Gerard, by the way, is the Angry Gnome. Gerard to me doesn't make any sense. I just call it the Angry Gnome in Your Mouth Part 2. There's the Prisoner's Dilemma, and then there's Math-terpiece Theater, Beach Balls. And if someone were to ask you about this episode in just a few words, I'd like to describe it for them. What would you tell them, Nathan?
Oh boy. Well, it has a song in it.
It does. It has a song in it. What a great description. Kelly, maybe you can beat him on that. What would you say?
Oh, there's a freaky villain that's like Willy Wonka and the Mad Hatter all meshed into one.
There you go. It's just a Johnny Depp. There you go. No, but well, before we get into our discussion of today's episode, it's time, of course, for our November 5th facts. Nathan has scoured the internet, and maybe just doing this just a few seconds before I talk.
No, I did this years in advance.
Of course. Before they even announced. In fact, he's going for season 3 of the reboot. He's already checking every date that it could possibly be.
It could be any date. So
you never know. So Nathan, why don't you tell us our November 5th facts? But before we do so, we need our November 5th facts theme song.
This is the November Facts theme song. It's kind of like some other song. I think I sang a song that sounded just like this, but then it didn't do this part, and then it didn't do this part. So it's a completely different song.
Yay! That is true.
Oh my goodness.
That might be
hilarious.
called the November 5th Facts song remix, maybe. That's how you make it a different song.
Yeah. It's a completely different song.
Well, Nathan, tell us.
We need a Spotify playlist of your songs.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would do well. But yeah.
We'd make so much money.
I'd listen to it.
We're on Spotify. I mean, I could just make it, right? I don't know. How does Spotify work? I don't know. You say horrible things on podcasts like Joe Rogan, and then you get paid for it. I think that's how it happens. Anyway, Nathan, why don't you tell us what are some facts about November 5th that we should know?
Oh, man. Okay. So, there's a whole thing of trying to take over the world, which I guess is like a normal thing. But this one, there's like, villains. There's like super villains, Yeah. And you know what that reminds me of? Superheroes. And you know what came out on November 5th? The Eternals.
Oh God.
the same day as and same year. So this is in 2021.
That's right.
The Eternals
So
came out.
You could have either watched the season, binged
Yeah.
the season,
That's,
or you could have watched the Eternals. I'm not quite sure which way would be a better way to
either
spend 3
way,
hours.
there's supervillains. Yeah, exactly. It's the same amount of time. It's
well, I still haven't even seen the Eternals. Actually, it's on.
It's fine. It's like watching Justice League or something.
Yeah,
like it's probably about as good as that.
I
And Justice League wasn't like the worst movie, but like to watch 3 hours of something, like it kind of should be better.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I need to. I'm really enjoying all the other Marvel stuff that's coming out. The Eternals, the moment I saw that trailer, I was like, I don't think I'm interested in this Marvel thing. And then people said, it's okay. And I went,
it's okay. Yeah.
And I said to myself,
accurate.
yeah, I don't know if I want to see this Marvel thing.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either.
Well, anyway.
Well, okay. So also in 1940, in World War II news, the British armed merchant cruiser HMS Jervis Bay was sunk by the German pocket battleship Admiral Scheer. So it has a cool, like, those are like superhero names probably.
Okay. Or supervillain names,
That's true. There was also the bombing of the Vatican also happened on November 5th. That was 1943. So that's a whole other thing.
That's a very villainous thing to do, yes.
Yeah. And Nixon, he wasn't like the best person, right?
No, he was a villain of history, yes.
Yeah. Well, he was elected as the 37th president in 1968. So there we go. That's our super villains and super war trivia November 5th facts. There you go.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for those facts. And I think it's time to get to our variable verse right now. Today's variable verse was Mirage Arcane.
Mirage Arcane.
And I guess they're playing Dungeons and Dragons right there. Something that I have never played. Have either of you played Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, don't talk to me about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. I won't. She had some bad experiences with Dungeons and Dragons.
Pretty much.
Oh, trigger warning for people who do not like Dungeons and Dragons.
I guess there's somewhat of a game theme in these episodes-ish in that.
This is true.
I'm trying to think if that was intentional.
Yeah, no, they go from this to playing a game right in the next segment right there, don't they?
And Prisoner's Dilemma can be considered a game. Math is kind of a game. No, I don't know. It's not really a...
Well, I guess let's just go ahead. By the way, I apologize to any listeners out there that can maybe hear my dog Wesley barking.
I can hear him.
I can hear him too.
Appreciate the apology.
He's particularly loud right now, and he's barking right outside the window that I'm recording outside of because
shame on Wesley.
He wants to be on the podcast. Hey, Wesley,
you're on already.
Wesley, you're on, dude.
You made it.
Listen. Wow. Maybe he hears my voice through the wall or something like that.
He probably does.
I don't know. He's very upset at me. Anyway. Well, let's go ahead and get to our first segment, which is a song, and it's called A Brief History of History. And A Brief History of History was written by Lucas Crandalls and Timothy Nash, and this was directed by Eric Knudsen. And in this, well, we get a song. We get a song where Yakko explains the history of the world to these aliens who decide to crash the Warner's TARDIS. This is a very Doctor Who-ish thing that's going on right now, Aliens go to it's the Warners are Time Lords. We've said it before, saying it again. We need to bring it back. The Warners are Time Lords. Anyway, he explains they call him the Yak, I believe.
Are you the one they call the Yak?
It's Yak-O, and it depends who's asking. 4 + 4 + 4 eyes.
We hear you are best at condensing complex information into catchy jingles.
Well, maybe not the best, but yeah, objectively the best. You heard right.
And he explains to the aliens the whole thing, starting from the very beginnings of the universe up through the Big Bang and dinosaurs and how the dinosaurs got killed up until even creationist theory and then going through the Industrial Revolution. And they drop I guess we could call it the S-bomb, basically.
Well, they allude to dropping it.
Oh, well, you put it on closed captions, it just takes out the T, but they say S-H-I. So, I mean, it's there in this song. So,
Industrial next, its major effect to take us from towns to the city. We mined coals and built trains, machine plowed our grains, and we treated the workers real shit.
How many more of your Earth seconds is this going to take?
Well-timed interruption.
the aliens thank Yakko and just say, hey, when we all eat everybody, you'll be, I don't know if he said spared, but you'll be like reconstituted into something or other.
Yes, when we absorb the essence of all species on your planet, we will ensure your carbon atoms are repurposed for only the highest quality nutrient paste.
Some really great singing from Rob and some really nice verses. The one that came to mind for me was that was a great commentary on today's educational system right there about creationist theory and not teaching evolution and stuff. But what did you guys think about this opening song? Kelly, let's start with you.
I thought the lyrics were okay. But it almost didn't really feel like a song. It mostly felt spoken. Didn't have a great tune to it or anything. But the animation was really cool. It kind of varied a little bit here and there. So that was really imaginative. But it's just not what I see myself memorizing or singing or anything, but it was okay.
Yeah. Nathan, what do you, I have some more comments on the song, but Nathan, what about you?
I like that it starts with, it goes into some, evolution, like single cell organisms and then evolving into different things. I don't know. I don't know. There was definitely, I wasn't a huge fan of the rhyming city with a bad word. Oh, this will be fun. The whole thing reminded me of there was a video from Britannic. I don't know if they remember that from like 20 years ago, and like guy's like, tell me everything, and then he's like, all right, and then he's just telling him everything. It's silly.
Britannic. What's Britannic?
Oh, I don't know. It's some comedians. I don't know.
Okay.
They're like, you never watched them? Oh my gosh.
I don't think so. Apparently, it's a lot like the geologic clock. Is that what it is? By Randy Rogel, which I think was going to be a song on Animaniacs originally. And let's see. I think I got something of it here on YouTube. Let's see if I can share this with you guys, and we'll see if this sounds, if you like it. Okay. So let's see here. I got this. I'm going to open this up. Share the sound. Here we go. This is by Randy Rogel. Let's find out. Let's see if there's any advertisements beforehand first.
Yeah, well, this one, I remember sometimes I'd say, hey, song, I got an idea for a song. We like this one. I don't think we ever got around to it. We just ran out of time. Yeah. But you asked me, the gentleman here, what was one of the hardest songs I wrote? This one was tough. And what I want to do is write a song about for Yakko that was just literally the story of everything. Like, tell how everything came to be.
When you write everything out, you write a song about how everything came about.
And so the idea was, again, this was never made, but what it was is you open up the early universe and you just see the
primordial ooze.
The primordial ooze, right.
And this is called the geologic clock.
That's right. It goes, what happened before history is still a certain mystery from long ago when people weren't around. Before the prophets and apostles, there were ancient things called fossils, which reveal the hidden stories of the many categories of creatures that were here before us: woolly mammoth, brontosaurus, even a tyrannosaurus rex. The geologic explanation of the planet Earth's creation is something quite amazing and complex. 4.5 billion years ago, my friend, in a time we call Precambrian, you see, some stellar gas was warmed and the planet Earth was formed, alone in space and empty as can be. And then that geologic clock, it started slowly ticking by. 1 million years just disappears in the twinkling of an eye. Things were slowly shifting, the continents were drifting, there were mountain ranges lifting, and 4 billion years went by. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tick-tick-tock, tick-tock. Along then comes the Paleozoic era.
Paleozoic?
Out of nowhere, life just suddenly appears. And soon there's seaweed, fish, and plants, and spiders, insects, ants, in a span about 300 million years. And then comes next the Mesozoic era.
Mesozoic.
Where the reptile population starts to grow. That's when the dinosaurs arrived, but none of them survived. The last one died about 70 million years ago. And that geologic clock, it kept on slowly ticking by.
All right, I'm going to stop the clock right there because it's about a 4-minute song, but it gives you kind of an idea about what Randy would have done if he had written the song.
It's kind of catchy.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I mean, I think once it's like a full orchestra behind that and everything, when it's just a simple piano and no visuals, it's like, okay, I still liked it. I mean, you can't beat a good Randy Rogel song, and that definitely sounded like, gosh, they could have done that. The amount of Randy stuff in the reboot altogether is much less than we thought, especially when Randy made such an early appearance in that Animaniacs thing. I thought, oh, good boy, there's going to be a bunch of Randy Rogel songs, and there really wasn't. So, anyway, what did you guys think? Would you? It's hard to tell from that just sample that we listened to, but what do you folks think about would you preferred Randy's version or the?
Oh yeah, I always prefer Randy's. His are just always catchy and just hummable and great.
Yeah, go Randy.
Well, you can find that whole song on YouTube, by the way, everybody. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It's there. So check it out. And it's obviously
stellar review. It is there.
It's there.
Check it out.
And Animaniacs in concert. I never knew that Nathan and I were so lucky to go there for that brief moment where they started it up again, because they've had to cancel so many and reschedule so many dates now because of the Omicron variant and everything. So once that gets started up again, maybe, just maybe, you might hear that song performed live by Randy and Rob. Maybe. But yeah, I really, I gotta go back to the foul language in this one, which we go, oh, they just allude to it or it didn't really say it. Look, I can't play this song. I can't play this song to kids in my school. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I think it's just so frustrating for me that it's like you have what I thought for the most part is a very nice song talking about history of the universe and the planet and everything like that. I really like the animation, the look of it looked really exciting and different. And then they do that, and it's just like now it's useless to me. You know what I mean? It's like I think the show is having trouble with figuring out how to do references to, or allusions to something, dirty or something like that. Whereas the original show it seemed like it got it down for the most part, and you wouldn't have these kinds of issues. I don't think. The closest you got was the Richter scale, the Richter scale joke, with it's kicking our asphalt or something like that, which that's the closest one. But even that, it's like, but that's witty in my opinion.
Yeah, or maybe Lake Titicaca or something, but that's like the name of the thing. So
that's the name of the thing, and it's literally, and it's kind of the point is like there are juvenile, say the planet Uranus. You forgot Uranus. Oh, there and it's silly, and that's what kids make fun of anyway, just naturally. Yeah. But so that's, if it weren't for that, I would really like this song. Unfortunately, it's there, and so I don't really like this song as much as I think I should. Well, at any rate, let's go ahead and get right into our next discussion of the next thing with the Angry Gnome in your mouth. Yeah. This is called The Incredible Gnome in People's Mouths, Gerard.
He is the incredible gnome in people's mouths.
And Gerard was written by Jess Lacker, and it was directed by Eric Knudsen. And Kelly, what happens in this segment of The Incredible Gnome?
Well, the gnome is now occupying a gentleman in a senior care home. And he gets upset, the gentleman, that one of the aides, the nurses, is eating his pudding. Then the gnome comes out and scares her and starts yelling at her and says, "We need to take this up with your supervisor."
Now, I'm sure if we just talk calmly about what happened.
The calm talking has passed, sister. She boosted that butterscotch right out from under that baby boy's booger box.
I'm sorry. I have low blood sugar and I don't get a lunch break, so I get irritable.
You're irritable? I'm stuck in this old man's mouth that he quit brushing in 1972.
And so the gnome starts yelling and says that the facility's in violation of one of the California laws, that you need a break after 7 hours of work. And so the lady's just sinking beneath her desk because she knows that she's in trouble now. So then the aide gets her break, and she and the gentleman are hanging out and they're both eating the pudding, and they're happy.
Someone stole all the corner pieces. Hold on 1 minute, Mrs. Miller. I'm on my lunch break.
You're welcome.
So that was it.
So this is in the vein of, once again, like the Incredible Hulk, or maybe the 10,000-year-old, not the 10,000-year-old man, the 2,000-year-old. I'm thinking Mel Brooks. I'm mixing Mel Brooks and the 10,000. What is it? I didn't even watch that show. Is it
$10 million man?
The million, yeah, 10 million.
Or the $1 million.
I thought it was a $6 million man.
There
we go.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's how much he cost. He cost $6 million.
The $20 man.
Well, but yes, in this case, yeah, he's back. I was never really necessarily a fan of the gnome in people's mouths, but this is another one. He was
your favorite thing, season 1. You said.
Was he really?
You said that, yeah.
I think you did.
Yep. Oh wow. Well,
compared to Starbucks and Cindy, and
are you talking about
the other ones?
Well, but even not like a favorite segments, like
favorite alternate segments.
Oh, okay, well. Yes, I still stand by that.
That didn't feature the Warners. That was
I still stand by
one.
that. I still stand by that.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it was Things That Go Bump in the Night, Cindy and Starbucks, and that. I think those are the only ones that didn't have Pinky in the Brain and Starbucks and Cindy. And that was your favorite one.
Well, anyway.
And now you say you're not a fan of it?
Oh, my gosh. Well, what did you folks think about this? I mean, there's not really any references to stuff, but what did you think about this segment? Let's see, Nathan, what do you think?
It was fine. It was about the same vein as the first one. I had no qualms with it. I think. Yeah.
Kelly, what about you?
That's all right.
I will give you one qualm I have. It's like he's there supposed to be helping the little person, right? And meanwhile he steals a little go scooter from this old lady who's then on the floor saying help. And then
That's just funny though.
And it's so hilarious. And then he runs over the lady who is like the boss who did give in to the demands, and then he just runs her over and squishes her. And she kind of twitches on the floor. And at first I thought she was doing something bad again, and that's why, she deserved it because she was doing something bad. No, she's just taking like a cactus out to her car. I don't know if she was being fired, perhaps even like she was just packing up her office. Like maybe she's like not only defeated, but now she's also crippled as well by being paralyzed.
Yeah.
By this thing.
Well deserved.
So yeah, I did. I mean, it's hey, yelling is funny. That's what I get from this thing is that it's funny to yell at people. I think it's still the same though. Not much else I can say about it. Anything else you guys want to say about it?
No.
All right, let's move on then to the main segment of today's episode. This is the prisoner's dilemma. And the prisoner's dilemma was written by Kathleen Chen and Brian Polk. It was directed by Katie Rice. Nathan, what happens here in the prisoner's dilemma?
Oh, it's a Pinky and the Brain segment. Oh, man. Okay, so Pinky and the Brain are off on another way to take over the world, this time by changing all the traffic lights. I don't know. If they're all red, then I don't know. There'll be chaos and no one will get to work, I guess.
I'm working on a scheme to triple the length of every red light on Earth, causing mankind to go insane with road rage, paving the way for me to seize control of a world torn asunder.
He does it, I guess. Like at least in the area that they're in, all the lights are red and chaos is starting to ensue. But along comes someone on a bicycle we don't really see, and they get sprayed with this nerve toxin or some. They pass out. They're asleep. They've been kidnapped now. And oh boy, they wake up and they're in this weird, kind of like a fairy tale kind of
utopia
Swedish,
kind of place.
Utopian. I don't know. It looks kind of like
cult,
like an Alice in Wonderland cult kind of thing.
We must escape this horrendous place at once. Looks like Wes Anderson had a seizure at Brooks Brothers.
Turns out they were kidnapped by a supervillain of Dopplerville, and the supervillain is named Doppler. So, and he does stuff with weather, which is kind of like, the Doppler effect or whatever that is,
or the Doppler radar. We've all heard the Doppler radar and the rain is coming in.
So he's this evil master of changing weather, and he names off a couple weather things he's done in the past, but none of them have actually caused the world to crumble as he wants to do. And he's trying to gather all the supervillains, and Brain's like, "Oh, I'm a supervillain. You think I'm super?" So he's quite, flattered by it. And meanwhile, Pinky's just like, "I'm hungry." And he's like, "Oh, be quiet." We meet some other of these supervillains that have been gathered. We have one that's like a Mrs. Potts. Her name's she's
Mrs. Kettle.
Mrs. Kettle. So instead of Mrs. Potts, it's Mrs. Kettle. There's Baldo Billions, which is kind of like he's maybe an Elon Musk, or no, who's the other guy? The one that's bald.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Mr. Bezos. And then we have a super pilot who's really good, and I think that's all three of them, right? There was no other.
No, that was that's all the time they had for villains.
We can't get any more. But the idea is Doppler is going to set off this weather machine, and each person's going to have a specific role to play. So Mrs. Kettle, she's going to turn it on.
Yes, very important.
Very important. No one else could do this. Phoenicia Leatherpants. She's gonna fly up and make sure that the coast is clear, I guess. I don't know.
She's gonna seed the clouds, I thought.
Okay, there we go.
To make it rain.
Yeah. And then basically then the hail's gonna be so big that it'll destroy the world, and Baldo Billions will come over and he'll help build houses or something, and then everyone will be rich, and then by default they'll be
most powerful.
The most powerful things. But already Baldo Billions is already rich. So I don't really like right there. I'm like, what is he? What, like, I need to come in and help you guys get rich? Like, I'm already the default. Like, whatever.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Why am I helping you?
There's
so
some plot holes. Each person, I'm like, is that person helping? Why? Like,
once the buildings of every major city are destroyed, they will turn to Mr. Billion's Cruel Co. construction to rebuild, making us trillionaires and de facto rulers over a crushed world.
But anywho, they're off to it. Mrs. Kettle is good at poisoning people, is her thing. So each of them have like super villain things they do. But Brain's thing, he's gonna fly up in a balloon and push a button.
Yes, to make
that will make an umbrella shield Dopplerville so that everyone is safe, so that after the thing, then they're all good. Oh man, but Brain doesn't like this idea because he's like, hey, that's such a silly role to play. But again, Mrs. Kettle's just turning on the machine. I don't know, she should be upset. I don't think Doppler's doing anything, although he did invent all the stuff, so I mean, whatever. Anywho, the Brain immediately decides that he's gonna go talk with Baldo Billions and see if he can do like a separate thing on the side, or I don't know. But it turns out he's dead. He's been poisoned, and obviously the person to have poisoned him. I mean, you assume he's poisoned. He because he's sitting at his chair looking at the fire, and he's dead. There's some tea next to him. It seems pretty obvious.
Pay no attention to the bump on his head.
Yeah, it seems though he must have been killed by Mrs. Kettle. Oh, she must be trying to take everyone out. Meanwhile, Pinky's like, I'm hungry. Okay, no, Pinky. All right, so we're gonna set up a booby trap, and with a bunch of butter, we're gonna make her slip and fall into the opens up the walk-in freezer, and she's already in there. She is dead as well. She's frozen solid. Oh boy. This must mean that Phoenicia leather pants,
yes.
the stunt double acrobatic pilot must be behind it all.
Yeah.
So they go and confront her, and they yell and they say, "We know you did it," but she can't hear over the sound of her own propellers. She just decides to take off. But wouldn't you know it, her plane crashes. Oh man. Who could have done it? And we hear from coming up behind them, it's Doppler. He's saying, "Oh, Brain, you thought you were the most powerful, smartest man, but it turns out there's another one." And you're like, oh man, is Doppler that powerful? And then he points out that it was Pinky that took down everyone.
Hey, Dad, Brain, you did it! You showed those rotten evildoers what's what.
But I didn't, Pinky. I didn't do anything to anybody.
You tried your fuzzy, scuzzy best, but there was someone even more devious and dastardly than you. Someone who created a torrent of torment.
Narf.
Baldo Billions got he slipped, I think, on a grape or an olive, right? Something
like that.
Pinky was trying to get this food, and he dropped it, and Baldo Billions slips, and he hits his head on the bookcase. Something falls, and then he lands on his chair, and he's dead. Oh my gosh! Meanwhile, I don't know if this is all happening basically instantaneous. I don't know when this all happened, but we find out that also he went to Mrs. Kettle, and Mrs. Kettle is going to get him some food, but then he accidentally closed the door on her, and she died. But then cut to Pinky's cooking some barbecue, so maybe he's gonna get some food. He's using the fuel though from Phoenicia leather.
Is it Phoenician or
Phoenicia?
Yeah.
But she is going. All her fuel is being taken for that, and when he goes to light it, there's a huge explosion. So we saw that in the trailers, and so then she had no fuel in her plane, and that crashed. So it seems like Pinky is, a genius in all this, but every time it's just him wanting food, and then so Doppler's like, let's go have a little tea party without the brain. And Pinky's like so hungry, his stomach's literally eating itself. They have a little tea party, but during the tea party, Pinky manages to knock Doppler into the ocean, presumably killing him as well.
Pops off a cork off the champagne.
And knocks him off as if, and then Brains wonders, maybe was this his plan all along? But Pinky doesn't even know what a plan is. And it turns out that the weather machine has been activated, and oh no, Hale's destroying the city. Brain forgot to put up the umbrella, his one job. Brain had one job, forgot to do it. And the town's destroyed. We find out that tomorrow night they're going to try to take over the world, but Brain gets hit by a giant hail ball as well.
It just goes to show you, Brain, there are no small parts, only small packages. No, wait. Good things come with tiny, easy-to-swallow parts. No, that's not it.
Come, Pinky. We must go back to the lab to prepare for tomorrow night.
Why, Brain? What are we going to do tomorrow night?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the... world.
Hey, we get a little post-credit of Doppler. He's still alive. He's in the ocean. He's swimming up to a giant piece of wood. There's already a woman on it, and he climbs on and he makes a Titanic reference, and that's how it ends.
Yeah, isn't that nice that we get to see maybe Doppler survive?
Yeah, he'll be back
reason?
season 3, maybe.
Hooray!
Why not?
Yes. The main thing you think of when you think of the Brain, you think supervillain. Yes, right. Exactly.
He wants to destroy take over the. I don't know what does he want to do.
Anyway, more. You can hear more of my thoughts about all that when in our Peter Hastings interview from our last episode. But I guess when it comes to, there wasn't really any of the, other than the major people you just mentioned, no really other, I guess, cultural references. Let's see. They did reference a traffic light party, which I had to look up and find out what that was again. But I guess when you go to those parties, you dress in green if you're single and ready to mingle. You wear red if you're taken and you're just there for, to dance. And you wear yellow if it's complicated. And, thought it was interesting that that Pinky looked up and really looked up at Brain a lot before he said it's complicated. Right there. Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Pip is in it. Pip is shown for a few seconds on a bus with, I think it's Take It Easy Cola or something like that. Is what the soda was. And let's see. They mentioned Will Smith.
Watch me strike first in this war of wills.
Oh, my money's on Will Smith. Or maybe Will Ferrell? No, Smith to win it all.
That didn't age well.
Yeah, that didn't. I don't know if people are really rooting for Will Smith these days. I certainly am not. But anyway, I guess that's it. Oh, there's a weird moment where Pinky says, "Good night, everybody," like Yakko, and says, "I just did it. I crossed over."
Things are getting interesting. It appears in this game I'm not just playing with myself.
Good night, everybody. I did it. I crossed over.
What does that mean? Does that?
I think it's the fourth wall.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
And I put fracture her spine? Question mark. Why did I write that down? Did somebody say that?
Probably. Oh, I think
thinking. Didn't Brains say he was going to do that to Mrs. Potts?
Mrs. Kettle.
Yeah. Mrs. Kettle. Which seemed a little mean.
Yeah, it's very out of character that he would say, "Oh, I'm going to fracture this person's spine," and also that, and just the fact that, wait, are these people dead? It's so funny that we're watching a cartoon and we're expecting, okay, these people are dead. Whereas before, it's like you're like, we are watching a cartoon. This is something where if the brain were frozen solid as a block, you would not assume, oh, now the brain's dead, or the plane, or he's in a plane and the plane crashes into a fiery explosion. The brain could walk away from that and go, "Oh boy, that was horrible." It's just the tonally these later, these Pinky and the Brains, it's odd to me that they're putting stakes on the lives of these characters so much, and for again,
comedy,
for the sake of comedy, and boy, oh boy, was it funny. What did you guys like about this segment? Kelly, let's start with you. Anything you liked in this segment?
I thought the world of Dopplerville was kind of visually interesting. All the people in their red and white striped shirts, and it was kind of creepy, and had that sense of Alice in Wonderland a little bit, and the chessboard, and just weird and creepy. So
apparently this is something I did not mention. I guess it's in the wiki that the parts of the episode allude to The Prisoner from 1967. That the island it closely resembles The Village.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, so
I haven't seen it. Yeah, but the text of the Prisoner is very much similar to today's title card. So it seems like they're alluding to
makes
that
sense.
movie.
Yeah. And The Prisoner's Dilemma to add a word to.
Well, isn't there I'm thinking of the Queen's Gambit. That's the other thing I'm thinking of, because there was a big chessboard. So I don't know exactly why they put dilemma on the.
Well, there's the whole thing of you can't trust the other person is the whole Prisoner's Dilemma. So that's kind of a.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, so I've never heard of the Prisoner's Dilemma.
Oh,
before.
You've never heard of
No, see, exactly. So there you go. That shows you how uncultured swine I am.
Yeah. Okay.
I should go to prison more often. Then I can go and find these things out.
It was weird that Brain was calling Doppler dad.
I missed that.
I don't know. It just seems...
no, that's true. He did call him dad at one point. Like it was supposed to be like a
he's like, "Well done, son," or something.
Yeah, like it was going to be like something psychological going on with Brain right there. I do remember that now that you mention it.
This is ridiculous, Pinky. I must prove to Dr. Doppler.
But the Prisoner's Dilemma is like, so you have two people and they can either help each other out, or you can backstab the other person. There's some game shows that have done it where you can be like, if we both say share, then we'll share it. But if one person says share and the other person says take, then the person that says take gets all of the money. And if you both say take, then none of you get any money. That's kind of
gotcha.
It's kind of that's one version of it at least. But
I've complained all I can complain about this episode, this segment of Pinky the Brain. Kelly, Nathan, anything else to mention about it?
No.
All right. Well, let's move on to the last one then. Let's just finish this one up with Math-terpiece Theater. Beach balls.
Good evening, and welcome to Math-terpiece Theater.
It was written by Jess Latcher and directed by Brett Farron. Kelly, what happens in this Beach Balls episode of Math-terpiece Theater?
I wish I knew. No, the Dot is telling a story, in the vein of Math-terpiece Theater, which always makes me think of. What did they call it when it was Alistair Cookie when he Cookie Monster-piece Theater, which was always great. But
that was always funny too. That was always good.
Well, Cookie Monster's funny. So she's telling a story, and it's like, it's dramatic, love blossoms, and then she throws this rose into the fire, and then she starts reading this book about beach balls. And the beach balls cost, I don't know, $5 or something, but they're on sale for $3.25 or something like that. And so then it gets into the story, and these two people are in the store. I guess they work there, and it's like zombie people coming in, and they're wanting the beach balls. You see the sign,
Yeah,
and they're on sale. And what's the guy's name? Carlos.
Yeah, I think so.
Carlos, something like that. And so the question of the book is how much money does Carlos save? And so the lady recognizes Carlos.
Carlos, please get a hold of yourself. It's not worth it. You're only saving $2.25.
That was kind of the end of it.
Yeah, they showed like a teaser once again to an upcoming
next week's. Yeah.
And what was next week's one, Nathan?
Like Pinocchio, but creepy.
She needs 6 rubber bands each for her 7 dolls, and then she needs to figure out how many rubber bands she needs, and then she hears 6 times 7 is 42.
And then they show creepy dolls, and then it fades goes to black.
Yep.
Yeah, that was real hilarious. These Math-terpiece Theater ratings, I'm just like, they just are. I mean, it was cool animation. It was nice seeing different styles. I liked when the guy was bending and moving and stuff like that.
That was cool.
It looked cool. Like it was all.
It was like The Ring.
Yeah, it looked really cool, but it wasn't funny. Like at the end of the day, it's like, I'm here to watch something funny, and this is. It's not funny. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jess Latcher, but I just didn't think this was funny the first time or the second time. But what did you two think about it? By the way, Peter Griffin, you can see Peter Griffin sort of in this. Yeah, Family Guy reference. And sort of some of the characters look like Scooby-Doo. But yeah, a Peter Griffin-ish looking torso goes by the screen, and it does look like Peter Griffin quite a bit. But what did you two anything you liked about this? Nathan, you're the math major.
Well, I like that the math was more intense this time, and I think you learn more this time than the last one, because the other one was like, 4 minus 2 was the math, and then they did 2 trains going at each other, and there was no question. They were just like, one train leaves at this station going 60 miles an hour, and the other leaves at 40 miles an hour. And I was like, yeah, but like, we don't know how the distance, we don't know anything. Like, what's the question? They didn't get to it. Yeah. This one, they tell you 6 times 7, and the math is a little bit harder than just doing. It's probably 5th grade or 3rd or 4th or 5th grade math, somewhere in that area, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I'm sure I could give this math to some of my middle schoolers, and
they probably still want to get it. Yeah, some of them.
And they say, "Why are you asking me about beach balls?" I say, "That's not the point."
We watched this together, and you were having a lot of trouble figuring out the math.
That's true. Yes, if you want to hear us give a live commentary on this episode, folks, it's on our Patreon. It'll be on our Patreon, and you can listen to us the real time reactions to how the jokes work on us the first time we hear them and see them.
Yeah.
So let's see. Kelly, anything else about Math-terpiece Theater that you wanted to mention?
No.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode? Nathan, let's start with you.
Let's see. I'll do 3. I guess it's fine. I did like that there was a song and Pinky and the Brain was in it. So those are all like pluses. And we had like, another gnome thing. So they're branching out with some things. And the math checked out. So there you go. 3 water towers.
All right. Kelly, what about you?
Oh, I'll go with 2.
Okay.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't any better the second time I watched it. And I mean, it wasn't horrible. No. It wasn't offensive really or anything. It just didn't make me laugh. I didn't feel any kind of way. It was meh.
Yeah. I'm a meh as well, and for me that has to be probably a 2 or a 2.5. I'll be generous and give it a 2.5. But yeah, I like the song, but I can't use the song like in a classroom setting. The Pinky and the Brain segment was okay. I mean, I just found it boring and not funny, and also and that's, you know what? I'm dropping it to 2. I'm going down to Kelly because also. Because then you throw into the whole thing about like the Brain seeing himself as this supervillain and trying to destroy people. It's just like, this is not the Pinky.
And then math was hard for you.
And the math was hard. And the math was when I was watching we were watching it also with kind of horrible audio, so I couldn't really quite understand the thing the first time. But yes, I was having trouble with the math. So 2 for me. But what did you folks think out there? Let us know. Send us an email. Let's go ahead and get to some contact information so they can tell us all about what they thought about it. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Hey, Joey, I'm on Twitter, JangoFT. That's me.
All right. Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS. Or you can email me, Kelly, at BigShinyRobot.com.
All right. And as for the Animanicast, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and some other places as well. And, of course, we're over at the Discord for Retro Zap. We're a proud member of the Retro Zap Podcast Network. Check out retrozap.com today for amazing articles and fantastic podcasts every day. And you can talk to us on our Discord. You can get a welcome link, which is discord.animanicast.com. That way you can talk to us about Animaniacs, or really to the Retro Zap folks about anything pop culture you want. And it's a really positive place to go. If you're a super fan of our show, we'd love to get your support over at our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Animanicast. This month we have some commentaries, not just from Tom Ruegger, but also from Peter Hastings, who watched some fantastic episodes that he wrote. And we had a lot of fun with those, and he gave a lot of great behind-the-scenes info. So check those out. You can become a patron for just $4. You can get access to hours and hours of audio, and you can, cancel it at any time. And we appreciate your support. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
Quiet, Pinky. Both because we have to be stealthy and because you're an idiot.